Israel has a new target. They have already leveled Gaza, they have a truce with Lebanon, and now Prime Minister Netanyahu has turned his sights to Syria. He's pounding them with airstrikes. The attack started on Sunday, almost as soon as Bashar al-Assad's regime fell, and it's continued well into this week. Some 350 airstrikes were carried out in the last 48 hours. 350 airstrikes. Israel has released footage of their operations. Take a look. And what are they targeting? Assets of the Syrian military. We're not talking about rebel factions or the Kurds. We're talking about the military regime, military of the fallen regime. Their research centers, their weapons factories, their ammunition depots, their naval assets, all of it has been destroyed by Israel. They used a combination of drones and fighter jets for this. Sites all over Syria were targeted, in Damascus, in Homs, in Tartus, in Palmyra, and in Latakia. And the damage is quite extensive. I'll show you the aftermath of two such attacks. One on a research center in the capital, Damascus, and second on Syria's naval fleet. Take a look. The entire Syrian Navy is gone. All those ships were sitting ducks for Israeli strikes. They say 80% of Syria's military capabilities have been destroyed. The obvious question is why? Why is Israel attacking Syrian military sites? It's basically a preemptive strategy. Israel says these military capabilities could fall into extremist hands or into the hands of pro-Iran groups. And they could use these weapons to attack Israel. So Netanyahu is not waiting around for that to happen. He says we'll destroy the weapons anyway. He also sent a message to the new regime in Damascus. Listen in.
We want relations with the new regime in Syria. But if this regime allows Iran to reestablish itself in Syria, or allows the transfer of Iranian weapons or any other weapons to Hezbollah, or attacks us, we will respond forcefully and we will exact a heavy price from it. What happened to the previous regime will also happen to this regime.
It's an opportunistic move by Israel. Netanyahu knows the rebels are busy rebuilding. They're more focused on internal issues. So what does he do? He takes the chance to defang Syria's military. But Arab nations are not impressed. They're accusing Israel of exploiting Syria's condition.
It cannot be accepted that any party, including the Israeli occupation, to exploit this opportunity to occupy the lands of another sovereign country. Syria's sovereignty has not been violated for any reason other than this Israeli violation.
Most of the world agrees with this. They may not call out Israel specifically, but they have demanded the protection of Syria's territorial integrity. And it's obvious why. Israel is following a high-risk, high-reward policy. They already control a piece of Syrian land. It's called the Golan Heights. Israel seized it during the 1967 war, and they've had control over it since then. But when Assad fell, Israel pushed beyond it, beyond the Golan Heights. They took over a United Nations buffer zone in the Golan Heights. It's just 40 kilometers from Damascus. Now, Israel says this operation is temporary and limited, that they have no intention of attacking the new regime, but the rebels may not see it that way. For starters, Israel's military is getting very close to them. Like I said, just 40 kilometers away. And secondly, Netanyahu is boasting about reshaping West Asia. He's openly taking credit for ousting Bashar al-Assad. And guess who believes him? Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Khamenei. He's broken his silence on the regime change in Syria. Khamenei says it was plotted by Israel and the US.
There should be no doubt that what happened in Syria is the result of a joint plan between the United States and the Zionists. Yes, a neighboring government of Syria has played, is playing, and will continue to play a clear role in this matter. Everyone sees this, but the main actors, the principal agents, the real plotters, the masterminds, and the command center are in America and with the Zionist regime.
Now put yourself in the shoes of those rebel leaders. You have just established a new regime, but your neighbor has carried out 350 strikes on your land. He's destroyed your navy and missiles, and he's stationed soldiers very close to your capital. Would you feel threatened or not? Chances are you will. But the rebels have not lashed out at Israel yet. They are rightly focused on internal issues, on bringing back stability. But if these attacks continue, who knows? They can't just allow Israel to destroy Syria's entire military. These planes and missiles may have belonged to Assad, but the rebels stand to inherit them, which is why Israel's strategy is high risk, high reward. If they get away with it, it's one less enemy, or at least a weaker enemy. But if they don't, they could end up further destabilizing Syria. And remember, the last time that happened, ISIS was the winner.